If you've had your surgery, congratulations and welcome to the losers bench. If you're still waiting for your surgery date, fingers crossed it'll come soon. If you've only just started this journey, good luck. It may seem impossible at times, but it is definitely doable. And it's life-changing. My autoimmune disease has gone into remission. I no longer have metabolic syndrome, and it would appear that my dementia progression has been slowed. Today we're going to be looking at AprilLauren. She said a couple of years, I think, ago that she'd never get weight loss surgery. And yeah, she is. She's done it. Please note that I don't have her permission. I did reach out to her, but she never responded. So we're going to be doing a reaction to her under the fair use content laws. I think it's laws. I think they're laws. Anyways, let's get on to her video.
I had weight loss surgery and
Bammo, she just comes out and says it straight up.
Well, strange, just jumping right into that, but not too long ago, I had weight loss surgery.
I'm glad that you did go for the option though, because she was struggling with her diet up and down all the time, trying different diets, trying different exercise regimes, and nothing ever seemed to stick.
I had the biliopancreatic diversion with duodenal switch.
She says duodenal quite a few times, and it drives me nuts. It's duodenal.
Duodenal switch. I don't know why I always do that. I say duodenal, but I had the biliopancreatic diversion with duodenal switch.
That's the BPD-DS.
People also just call it the duodenal switch, or I call it the duodenal switch. And I don't know why I say things wrong sometimes, but I do. I'm AprilLauren. I am on a weight loss journey to lose over 200 pounds.
Okay, so she wants to lose 200 pounds. That's quite a bit of weight, but definitely doable.
This is my YouTube channel, Wake Up Bright, where I share all the things that help me live each day a little brighter. I imagine one thing you may be interested in is, how did you go from disappearing on YouTube to I got weight loss surgery?
Well, we all know why she did it, because she said originally that she'd never do weight loss surgery. So it definitely wasn't expected.
Especially when I even made a video before that was like, why I won't get weight loss surgery. And it's not a complicated story, but it feels so complicated to talk about. In this video, How Did I Get Fat, I talked about things that I know have led to depression and significant weight gain in my life. I did a whole timeline, and I have been trying to lose weight and maintain a healthy weight my whole life.
She's one of us that have struggled our entire lives, trying to lose weight and not getting anywhere. And yeah, that's when the surgery really comes into play and really becomes a very useful tool towards losing weight.
And I just keep failing at it, and I really don't want to live my whole life failing at it, and I'm not going to. And I feel like this surgery is a tool for me to use to prevent.
Okay, so that's a great start, that she sees it as a tool, which it is. It's not a magic cure, and you're not going to wake up after surgery 200 pounds lighter. The first year and a half is, or first year to 2 years is the honeymoon phase, where you barely have to do anything and the weight just comes straight off.
Prevent that, to stop the back and forth, the up and down. And I know it's going to be work, but after stepping outside what I thought I knew and learning more, I I think it's going to be a tool for that.
I think she's got a good mindset going in. Hopefully she did see her psychologist and get the psychologist clearance. But this definitely, it looks like she's got her head screwed on right, and that she'll be successful.
Going back to the video, one of the things that I know has led to significant weight gain in my life before is big moves, like moving, relocating. And I know that there are things.
What I know about AprilLauren is that her husband is in the military, some form of military, so they do move around a lot. And yes, it can be very upsetting, and yeah, you can feel quite chaotic. You don't eat right because you're stressed out all the time about the new move, where you're going to be, etc., etc.
That I can do to jump right in and handle a move well, and I've done that before. I've done that well lots of times before, and yet there's sometimes when I do it and for whatever reason I can't hit all of the steps, all the things that I know help me from sliding into depression. And this move was definitely one of those times where I moved, and even before we got here, even before we ever actually moved, I had felt myself slipping. I had been slipping for some time.
She's quite self-aware of what causes her depression, and that's a great start. Unfortunately, she is going to need therapy quite a lot to keep going. It's one thing to lose the weight, it's completely another to keep it off. And she needs to focus on healing her mental health. Otherwise, she's just going to fall back into old habits after 2-3 years and regain it all. It happens.
And just living in denial about where I was at mentally and trying so hard to hold on and not sort of disappear into this mist of depression that is somewhat familiar to me. And I withdraw when I get to that point, and then I usually hit a point where I'm like, I'm withdrawn and I feel bad about it, and then I'm withdrawn and I don't care about anything anymore. It's like everything becomes foggy.
Oh, so that's just pure depression symptoms. Yeah, she really needs some therapy. The weight loss will help. It does put you in a better mindset. You feel more confident. You feel like you're achieving something. The depression does ease up a bit. But if you don't deal with it through therapy and possibly medication, although I don't think she needs medication, in my opinion. Yeah, she needs to deal with these issues.
And then eventually one day, I'm like, I come out of the fog and I'm like, oh, what did I do? Like, how did I get here? And I know how I got there. And I felt helpless to stop that. And this time wasn't much different. We moved and I did things that I thought would help, and I just slid. I slid and I slid, and I kept trying to make myself make YouTube videos because I know YouTube videos are something I enjoy doing, and I enjoy talking to those of you who watch and comment, and I enjoy messaging back and forth, and I just continued to.
What I have noticed is she seems to be uploading regularly now. She's very much one of those YouTubers who comes in, does videos, and then disappears without letting their community know why, what, where, how are you still alive, which I think is actually quite rude. You should at least let your community know what's going on and that you're not going to be posting for a while. But yeah, hopefully she sticks with it. She is now posting regularly, especially updates on her weight loss. So hopefully she keeps that up.
To withdraw. I didn't want to look at myself. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to think. I didn't want to do any of these things. And I started gaining weight. And that was in spite of losing weight slowly before.
She definitely did pick up a lot of weight since her previous video or videos.
Before this regain that I had, I thought the main reason I had always gained the weight back was because I lost it in an unhealthy way. That if I had lost it in a healthy way, if I got depressed and gained weight or moved and gained weight, that it would be okay because the weight loss was in a healthy way. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of, now looking back, it doesn't really make much sense that I thought that would be an answer, because the answer really...
It does happen that if you lose the weight too fast, you do gain it back simply because very often you'll place yourself on a very restrictive diet, and then once you get to a point where you feel too restricted or you get too hungry, you then go and you binge and you throw away all the good work that you've done. You need to find the right way to lose weight, something that is sustainable. I found that doing small changes at a time did help. Obviously not enough because I ended up having the surgery, but yo-yo dieting is called yo-yo dieting for a reason.
Really is that it's a multi-pronged, there's lots of factors, and one singular thing probably isn't going to make it okay or make it not happen. It's a collective of steps to follow to prevent it or to, anyway. So as I gained weight and as I felt worse, I felt so angry at myself for letting it happen, for making...
That's perfectly normal. We all get into that rut where we feel guilty because we didn't stick to the diet, and because of that we end up eating more, so we put on even more weight, and then we feel even more guilty, and on and on and on and on.
It happened, and the angrier I got at myself, the worse I felt. It was just this negative loop, this negative cycle, until one day...
Exactly what I was saying.
I was close to my birthday, which tends to be a little bit of a darker time for me, and I was like, I'm gaining weight and I don't even care. Like, I don't even care. Like, I didn't... It's like I know...
No, she did care. You do care. You can tell yourself as much as you want that you didn't care. You did care.
No longer cared. I didn't want to weigh, which is fine. You don't have to weigh yourself. I don't have to weigh myself all the time, but I just started ignoring the number on the scale. And
she says that, but she did weigh herself. If you weigh yourself, it means that you give a damn about what your weight is. If you didn't care, you wouldn't weigh yourself.
And then in a moment of clarity, if you will, I don't know if it was a moment of clarity or I don't know what it was, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And so I was like, what can I do? What can I do? And I'm like, I'm going to try weight loss medicine. I'm going to, whatever weight loss drug is right now that everybody's doing. I talked to my doctor. I disclosed that I felt like I was depressed and that I no longer cared I was gaining weight. I essentially just said the same things I'm sharing with y'all now.
No, she did care, and yes, she was depressed, clearly, but just going onto a weight loss drug is not going to help. It's not a miracle cure. Ozempic is not the end all and be all. You still need to make the changes.
And that I know that when I have gotten to this point before, until I no longer feel this way, that I gain weight and I am completely oblivious to it, even though I know it. It's a weird place mentally that I get. And when I started talking to him about these things, he's like, okay, well, we need to treat that. Let's treat this depression.
I'm so glad to hear that he took it seriously and is getting her the help that she needs.
Led to significant weight gain in my life before is big moves, like moving, relocating, and this was in a healthy way. So it's kind of, and the angrier I got at myself, the worse I felt. It was just this clarity, if you will. I don't know if it was to it, even though I know it. It's we prescribed me Prozac, and then he set a follow-up appointment for me to come back.
Okay, so he did give her medication. Prozac is great, especially if you're only taking it for a short while. It does take 4 to 6 weeks to kick in before you get the full effects. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking Prozac. There's nothing wrong with taking any antidepressant or any mental health medication.
After a short period of time, and when I went to that follow-up appointment, it was like 4 weeks after, I was feeling it was not like I had completely turned around, but I had taken steps.
Just reaching out is the hardest part, and getting the help that you need it's difficult, but it helps. It really helps in the long run.
To do things that I know help me when I'm in a dark place, as opposed to just giving up and laying down and becoming a willful victim of my emotions. And I think taking that medication definitely helped me with that specifically. And maybe it's something I always needed, was if I am experiencing depression, is to treat it. And maybe that's not a maybe. Maybe that's, I don't know why I can't not say maybe. I guess because I know it's not everybody, and not everybody and I are the same. Like, we don't all experience things the same. For me, that is probably what I have always needed to do, and something I have never done. I have never been treated for depression. I just go through it.
I'm really glad she got the help that she needed. It does help with weight loss to have your mental health on par.
And I withdraw into myself. I stopped talking to my friends, stopped talking to family, I stopped talking to the majority of people.
This is all classic depression symptoms.
And I just go through motions, and I didn't do that this time. Going to the doctor was different. That was a different thing, even though in my mind I was like, the thing that's going to stop this is taking a weight loss medicine. That's not what stopped it. What stopped it was treating the depression. Yeah.
It's great that she understands that, as I said, the weight loss drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, all of those, they only work to a certain degree. You still need to put in the work. And if you're depressed and still eating bad, it's not going to help you at all.
And from that point, I went to the follow-up meeting with my doctor, and he's like, why haven't you considered weight loss surgery? He's like, looking at, what you've done in the past, because I had given a medical history and stuff. He's like, why haven't you considered weight loss surgery? And I told him the same spiel. I'm like, because when I gain weight, even like this last time, I lost it in a slow and healthy, sustainable way. But in the past, whenever I have lost weight and then regained, I regain it really fast. And
why is that an excuse for not getting surgery? I don't understand.
All of my reasons, and he stopped me and he's like, that isn't what just happened. Like, you started to regain weight and you got help. And that kind of, it's not like in that.
I hope that he didn't just put her on medication. I hope that he sent her to therapy as well.
Moment I was like, oh yes, let me get weight loss surgery. That's exactly what I needed to hear. But I kind of smiled, and then I left the appointment, and then that just stuck with me. And so the next appointment, I brought it back up to my doctor and was like, I thought about it, and I thought about the fact that I have never even looked into weight loss surgery. Like, I have always just turned it down.
A lot of people feel that it's the easy way out. No bariatric patient you ever speak to will tell you it's an easy way out. It is not.
Every time weight loss surgery has been presented to me, I'm like, obviously I'm too broken for that to work. I will be someone who loses the weight and gains it back. And I don't know anything about it.
Again, therapy, therapy, therapy.
And I had also looked some stuff up online that opened my eyes up to how much I actually didn't know, even though I have so many friends who've had weight loss surgery and I've always cheered for them. And I believe in it before I believed in it as a tool, but I'm like, obviously I am too messed up for that to work for me. And then some of the stuff I read made me hopeful. I'm like, well, maybe this is a permanent solution for me. And so
it's only permanent if you stick to it, sweetheart.
Then I went back to my doctor and I told him that, and I made an appointment to go to an information session, and that was the first step for my insurance, and then where I live specifically, because depending on where you live, the health insurance that the military provides does it differently, I think. But the first step was to go to an information session, and no one else. It was supposed to be like a group.
We don't have information sessions, but I think that would actually be a really good idea. For me, when I saw my surgeon, he explained everything and basically gave me all the info I needed going ahead.
Information session where anyone who was interested was going to be there, but I think there was supposed to be 5 and I was the only one who showed up. And so I got pretty lucky because every question I had got to be answered. And so I didn't know which surgery. In that information session, he went over 3 different options. I think it was just 3 for weight loss surgery in very deep detail. And because I think the information session was normally like an hour and I was there for almost 2 hours. But
it's good. It's really good. I'm glad she got the answers she needed. I think that'll help her in the long run.
He was just so thorough in everything that he shared with me. It was amazing. And the nurse who helps the surgeons who do the weight loss surgery, she also came in for part of that info session and was able to answer questions. And after that, I didn't know which surgery, but I was like,
I've seen a lot of people on Facebook and on the WhatsApp groups, etc., not knowing which surgery they want to have, and not knowing all the pros and cons of each surgery. So yes, she got a lot of information, but she was still unsure about which surgery would be best for her. I was lucky, my BMI was over 50, so my doctor said BPD, full stop.
It is for people like me. This is for people who regain weight, people who struggle to lose all of the weight. It is a tool that I can use, not alone. If I don't use the tool to work at it, it won't. But if I use the tool as it's meant to be used, then I can reach a healthy weight and just live my life without being so focused on food. At this point,
I'm really glad that she understands this and that she sees this about herself and that she understands that it's just a tool. You still need to put in the work to make it a success.
I was working and doing other things in my life that helped me live a little healthier and brighter, and stepped away completely from like YouTube, from
Yes, we noticed you disappeared.
Instagram. I made like a separate Instagram for my friends and family, just because that's how I keep up. Like I keep up with my niece and my sister and my sisters, and I keep up with my family through social media. So it's hard to just take a complete break from social media when I live a bazillion miles away. But I stopped giving any thought or attention to YouTube and to
It's probably a good thing that she just stopped and focused on herself for a while. It might definitely have been the better decision for her.
Making YouTube videos, not because I didn't want to ever make YouTube videos again, but before I even went to that appointment, I was just trying to force things, and didn't feel right. And it wasn't just forcing videos, it was everything. I was just trying to force myself to be okay when I wasn't okay.
Yeah, being on social media, it can be overwhelming. Being an influencer, I mean, it can be overwhelming to not do what you've always done, but sometimes you need to stop and take care of yourself first.
And I just didn't know what to do. So I focused on filling my day to day with the things that matter most. So my family, my spirituality, and working towards the weight loss surgery, which just included, it was a pretty easy process. I will at some point make a video with like the timeline of what I did to have weight loss surgery.
That'll be quite interesting. I need to go find that video and check that out.
Just because I think it's interesting, and I know all insurance companies do things differently, but I don't know. It's just my experience, and I think it's interesting and will be interesting to have down for future me, and for anyone who wants to watch that might be interested.
I think that could be an interesting video.
But to talk a little bit about that, so I did the information session. Then I met with, that was the first step. The second step was doing like all this blood work and doing some testing. And then I had to have
Oh yes, I remember that. Test after test after test. And I was blessed to have a liver biopsy. I think the pain from the liver biopsy was way worse than that of the actual surgery. But that was one of the tests that I had to do specifically because my liver was so damaged already from having fatty liver disease. So they needed to make sure that there weren't any major problems that wouldn't get sorted out after surgery, or rather after the weight loss.
3 classes with this nutritionist, our dietitian. She's a dietitian, and they were nutrition courses. And the courses were like setting up expectations. The first one for what post-surgery life is and what each surgery entails and how that affects, and so on and so forth. The second one was like supplementation, and the third one was like the immediately after surgery.
Okay, so that was quite a thorough session, which is great. Gave her a lot of information, and the more you know, the better your chances.
Focus on diet and things. And once I finished those, I went on to the next step, which was a behavioral health assessment. And you have to get cleared from the specific doctor in order to move on. And then it was just meeting with my surgeon and scheduling.
Okay, that's an interesting way of doing it. I went and saw all the doctors and had all the tests and everything done, and then they decided whether yes or no.
The surgery. So there were there's other testing and things in there, but I didn't have a lot of extra tests. Some people have like sleep apnea test and like other things. Mine were.
Yeah, I didn't need to do the sleep apnea, which was great because I'd done it a year before, 6 months to a year before, so I didn't need to do that again.
All pretty basic, and so I got pretty lucky in that it was.
It's not luck. The doctors just didn't think it was necessary.
Pretty quick. It would have been even quicker if Christmas in December didn't fall right there in the middle of it, because Christmas, the behavioral health specialist took the entire month off. And so by the time I went to the information session, he was booked out until January, and like the end of January. So I didn't even get into the behavioral health doctor until the 1st of February. And then I had a little bit more to do before I had to meet with the surgeon before I could schedule. And then I had family coming, and I did not want to be immediately out of surgery when my brother and sister-in-law and nephew came. So I ended up opting to push it for after their visit.
That makes sense. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, I have my surgery on such and such day, and can I go scuba diving? Can I go swimming? Can I go on this holiday? To a certain degree, but you have to get cleared by your surgeon first, or any of your doctors. You need to get cleared before you can do any of these things that could be detrimental to your operation. Also, going on holidays, often one struggles to find food that is safe for bariatric patients to eat. Very often the meals that you want to eat are not the healthiest, so going on holiday straight after your op is not a good idea. Give it a couple of months till your stomach's settled, otherwise you're going to be spending half of your holiday in the bathroom.
And so that prolonged it a little, but if I wouldn't have had those things, it would have been like 2 months max. And then because of those extra things,
Okay, that is fast. That is really fast for what I understand with the medical healthcare system in the US. I believe that is quite quick.
I think it was like 4 months from
That's still quick.
the info session to having the weight loss surgery. So it wasn't that long, but it was plenty long enough for me. I am so grateful to have had it, and I'm grateful to be on this side of what I experienced when I first moved here. I don't know all the things. Like, I don't know the chemical imbalances that causes depression or why certain.
She definitely should see a psychiatrist, I believe. If it is chemical, you need to see a psychiatrist. You can't just depend on your GP. If it's situational, which is what I believe happens with her because it comes and goes, it's not permanent. I would say it's not a chemical imbalance, but that's just my humble opinion. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but in my humble opinion, she should see a psychiatrist because it's situational, and I don't think it needs to be a permanent solution for her.
Lead me to depression. If that's even related, it could be other things. It could be, I don't know, mold in the hotels we stayed in for 2 months. Who knows? And yet it happened, and it's happened before. Not a ton, but I've had several periods where I have been significantly depressed for a significant period of time. And
Then yes, I agree, you go on medication to get through it. But I don't think it needs to be permanent if it's only every now and then.
And that's just part of my life. And now I know the most effective way to handle that will be going to my doctor at the first, as opposed to waiting until I'm at that like almost breaking, like, well, I guess I was past a breaking point, but I got lucky that I reached out for that help, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have just gained back the weight that I did. I would have gained back so much more. And one of the things I did have to do was go on birth control. And
I also had to go on birth control. Apparently your fertility does shoot up quite quickly, so you need to go on a contraceptive to make sure that you don't become pregnant before your weight is stabilized and you've lost the majority of the weight you need to lose. I am currently at that point. I am 14 months post-op. My weight loss has slowed down significantly, and it's now stable enough for me to start trying to conceive. So yeah, I'm glad they do the contraceptive thing in the US as well.
I think that contributed to a little bit more. So a little bit more weight gain. So when I first started going to the doctor, I had reached like 308 pounds, I think. It was like,
Okay, 308 pounds is significant, definitely. And I think definitely a case for having surgery.
right around 308 pounds. And then when I did my pre-surgery appointments and stuff, I was close to like 315. And then when I did the DEXA scan, I was 319 pounds. And I did a DEXA scan.
I desperately want to go do a DEXA scan. It's now available in South Africa, and it's actually not as expensive as I thought it would be. But yes, I'd love to see what's going on inside.
Before the surgery, and that was before I did like the liquid diet. And so I gained a little bit of weight before I lost weight with the liquid diet. The liquid diet is a diet to shrink your liver pre-surgery.
That is correct. It also helps with a little bit of weight loss so that your cardiovascular health is a little bit better, so that the anesthetist, his job's a bit easier, and the general surgeon can then get to your stomach easier because your liver has shrunk. Your liver lies on top of where they need to get to, so they need to move it out of the way. If it is big and chunky, it obviously makes it a lot more difficult.
And so they didn't give me a weight loss goal or anything from the time I went to the doctor, like the info session, until I started.
It's often 10% that they ask you to lose, 10% of your weight.
They gave me other goals like chewing your food.
Oh my goodness, chewing your food. My dietitian has recommended she does it herself, is you chew each mouthful 30 times. I'm not the best at doing it because that's a lot of chewing and a lot of time, and I'm used to scoffing food down, but I have slowed down significantly, and when I remember, yes, I do eat like that.
And I didn't know that I didn't chew my food, but found out really quick that I am terrible at chewing food and not drinking with a straw and cutting out carbonated beverages. So they gave me things to work on.
Carbonated drinks, giving it up was absolutely the hardest part for me. I am a Coke Zero girly through and through.
Just to make the transition into this lifestyle easier, and that's what I focused on. I know all medical or surgical teams have different goals for people or different things that they lay forth before surgery. So anyway, I have missed sharing parts of my life with y'all. I have missed making videos, and I have felt so guilty every time my mom and my grandparents have mentioned making YouTube videos, and that I just wasn't making them. And I wasn't making them for me, but I wanted to make them for the people that I love, and I wanted to make them for those of you who've reached out to me and shared, concern and different things. And
yes, because you just disappeared.
Yet I did not have it. I did not have it to give. And that's an all me problem. Like, I was the problem there. And yeah, I am glad to be sharing. I hope that sharing my weight loss ups and downs going forward will help just one other person. It's a lonely road, but I do know that there are very few things in this life that we are.
The journey shouldn't feel lonely if you're bariatric team is as good as mine. You don't feel lonely, you feel supported all the way through. I am very lucky that all my friends and family are extremely supportive of what I've done. I've never had a problem with anybody saying, you know, weight loss surgery is the easy way out, and weight loss surgery is for for quitters, because you're not doing it yourself anymore. I'm really lucky that I didn't have that at all with any of my family and friends. They were all just incredibly supportive. But more importantly, my bariatric surgery team has been incredible. My dietitian has started a workshop that I joined, which is great, and I get to see her quite regularly and ask questions, etc. So I feel not lonely at all. I feel like everybody is there supporting me, and that my journey isn't one of being alone. I definitely don't feel lonely, and I hope that her surgery team will stick with her and help her and guide her through all the way through to the absolute end. My dietitian was talking about, she had a patient who she's been seeing for 15 years, and the lady hasn't gained back the weight, she's kept it off, and the dietitian was bragging about her because she sees her every so often and she knows how well she's doing, and she knows how hard this woman is working to keep the weight loss off. But she's there and she's supportive and she checks up on you. She makes sure that you're doing okay.
Experience alone. There are others who have experienced similar struggles in similar circumstance or completely different, but there's so much in life that is shared, or we have the ability to share and uplift one another. I know that I am uplifted when you guys share things with me. I just read a comment when I was thinking about making this video, and someone shared with me something that I needed to hear. And
okay, the comment says, "Hi April, I've been a subscriber for a while and went through a weight loss journey at the same time as you, almost pound for pound. In the past couple of years, I've gained back some of the weight. I'm not sure what you're doing though. I hope that you are okay. I miss watching your videos, and while I don't know what you're going through, it may be more relatable than you know." It's quite a sweet message.
Information session, he was booked out until depression. I have missed sharing the answer for everyone. However, I am grateful to have opened myself up to it being an answer.
She just carries on. She's grateful, she's grateful, she's grateful.
And
Girlfriend, I had gastric bypass last winter, and it was the best decision of my entire life.
Girl, not many people can say they worked their asses off and lost 100 pounds. You've shown you can do the work and have the ability, but you do not need to be a martyr for this. You do not need to spend your life fighting for this, and weight loss surgery is a tool to improve your life.
I'm so grateful you shared this. As someone who had weight loss surgery, I was saddened by your prior opinions on it. I know it's not for everyone, but I do believe many are closed-minded about it without enough research. I'm so glad you were able to research and get all your questions answered by your medical team. I'm also so happy you shared this for people who may share your previous mindset. Wishing you all the best, and I'm looking forward to more videos when you want to make them.
April, I really hope the best for you and all the weight loss, but your main problem is the food you eat and how much. I have suffered with depression my whole life, and when I started eating whole foods and resistance training, it's so much better and no medication. And lost weight very easily. It's not hard, just eat whole foods. Please know that food is the problem when you want to make them.
I am so freaking happy for you. I had Roux-en-Y gastric bypass surgery over 15 years ago. I lost over 150 pounds, became a distance runner and an avid weightlifter. I had to completely change my lifestyle and eating habits, but I've kept it off and have built a lot of muscle. Everyone else I know that has had the surgery has unfortunately gained all the weight back, plus some. However, I know that you can lose all the weight and keep it off. I'm so excited for you. You're going to do amazing.
Anyways, enough from me from the peanut gallery. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, yada yada yada, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.